Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Cannot believe this week is just flying by. Welcome to another House of Bricks Live. We've been picking up the pace here, as you've seen with these live events, getting great feedback. If you're new to the show, you've probably seen some of the things that we're doing for veterans with our What the Truck initiative, really trying to raise awareness for veterans, PTSD, mental health. Look, they serve our country. They leave their family. They protect us. And sadly enough, we really only recognize them a couple days a year. And it's our mission, the House of Bricks, to really help them transition from the battlefield to the boardroom. So a lot more to come on that. Just keep following us, keep engaging with our content. And, we're going to make a huge impact. It's not a small problem to solve, but for those of you that know me, I like to tackle big challenges, and I know we're going to make a huge impact. But today on the House of Bricks Live, I'm very excited to have a guest, Dr. Navin Goyal. So he's and I hopefully pronounced that right, but he's a physician turned entrepreneur. And I can tell you, having a healthcare analytics business that went public, I've done a lot of business with doctors. Some of them are good entrepreneurs, and some need a lot of work. So for some reason, their brains are not wired entrepreneurially, but they're obviously very smart people. So he's an entrepreneur, investor, co-founder of OFFOR Health, Loud Capital, and Loud Collective, and a powerful voice in leadership, rooted in service, vulnerability, and clarity. He's also the author of Physician Underdog, the voice behind the Underdog's Don't Stop newsletter, and host of Made to Rise. So if you've been seeing some of my recent posts, we've talked about building brick by brick for 2 years. And I'll tell you what, it was my idea to come up with Brick by Brick and the House of Bricks, but there is a time where you actually want to rise. And I watched The Dark Knight Rises over the weekend, one of my favorite movies, and it just teaches you that, there's that moment in life where you need to just start to climb. So you build that foundation, and if you're in that bricklaying stage, stay there, turn those obstacles into stepping stones. But we all need that light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what we're doing with the House of Bricks. So want to welcome to the show, Navin.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. And we were kind of bantering a little bit back and forth. So you said you're not an obnoxious Ohio State fan. And I'm in Detroit. So there's another school here, Michigan.
Yeah.
You've
yeah, man. I'm competitive, but I'm also, I've been a fan for a long time, and with that comes the ups and downs. So when you win, it's awesome, and when you lose, I'm not a sore loser. I've have to adapt to that. I know a lot of people don't follow that mantra because when they lose, it's horrible, and they are so sensitive to the other winners. But for me, as an Ohio State fan, it's I'll celebrate when I win, and I'll celebrate when others can pull it off as well. That's just me.
Well, I'm glad we're on the other side of the drought that I've had for the last 15 years. I mean, we could barely couldn't compete with you guys.
Yeah.
But, last couple of years have been good, but we're not here to talk football. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. So my background is, first career was becoming an anesthesiologist, which is its own pathway in itself. And I wanted to be a physician for so long in grade school and worked hard towards getting it. And once I got a job after 12 years of training and schooling, I was extremely and still am grateful. However, like I tell a lot of people, we change and our expectations change, and we have skill sets and experiences that also help shape that change. And so with that, I felt like my learning curve was going flat once I was practicing for a while, which happens with a lot of, I think, jobs or professional jobs. And I was craving more. And so I started reading books. I started catching up on some finances, fortunately, after being a poor medical student and resident for so long, and started investing. And I got exposed to incredible entrepreneurs who, from a creative outlook perspective, from a risk-taking stratification perspective, very different persona than a physician, where it's really hard in the physician track, but there's also a structure that if you get to this level, you will become this. If you get to this, you will get a job. If you do this. And so when you look at the entrepreneurial world, it's the complete opposite. It's literally, let's build the plane while we're trying to fly here. And I think instead of turning me off and being like, that is risky, I don't want to touch it, it was something exciting for me. And so outside of investing in some entrepreneurs, I started my first venture in 2014 and just really got the bug of the unknown versus being scared by it.
Well, I love that. And I'm just like looking at your, your bio here. I feel like I should be on your show. I mean, like just your credentials are like off the charts. So 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, host of Made to Rise I want to learn about, 75,000 subscribers to your newsletter. How are you managing to do all of this?
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I work hard towards a lot of these different things, but I think number one, it's my hunger to learn and grow. And my wife is not in that same mindset. And so she looks at me like, what are you doing? Like, I get up every morning, I read, I journal, I do all these things. And I've just realized my hunger to grow. So in that hunger to grow, you do accomplish all these things. So when you list something, it's like, oh my gosh, how have you done that? Now that's number one. Number two, which I think might be even more important, is the ability to recognize and act on delegation, delegate to other people. And so when it comes to, I'm started my fourth company now, that's not like, oh, how are you superhuman? Or you are just ultra smart and all that. No, I know my skill sets and I complement my lack of skill sets with other people, because I can also build trust with people, because I feel like I have pretty good core values and I'm very open and vulnerable and transparent. And so in doing that and having some of those skills, there are people who come to me or I come to them, we want to work together and we start building together, but I work on one piece and they work on some other things. And if you multiply that, you get time back and you're able to focus on things that give you energy. So that's why when you say like these things like, oh my gosh, all these things, I mean, I feel like I've worked really hard and I've done things, but I've never done anything alone. And I think that's important.
Right. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that was what you said about delegation. That was the best advice I ever got. So when I started my first company, I was 19, dropped out of college. I'm nowhere near as smart as you are. After my freshman year, started my business, a couple $100, turned into a multi-million-dollar company. But I remember I was on a yacht with a billionaire and I was like, how did you do this? How did you get here? And he said, Adam, I'll give you one word. He sasaid, delegate. And I was like, oh man, because like my first company, I wanted to do everything. I was sales, I was marketing, I was accounting, I was my own sales manager. I remember I had like 3 phones set up in my second bedroom of my apartment. And when someone had an issue with an order, just kind of taking a little rabbit trail here, but like they had an issue with an order, like, oh, let me talk to your manager. I just transfer the phone and be like, yeah, this is Bob, Adam's manager. Oh, he's one of our best sales guys. So like, I get all of that, like doing it by yourself. But delegation is absolutely paramount to scale. And over the last 12 months, I've probably talked to 700 different founders on Zooms and live events and so forth. And it's the one thing they can't really get out of their own way. So there's a huge difference between being a founder and a CEO, like totally different. And all founders take the CEO title because they're the only one there. Like, yeah, I'm the CEO of this company, but there's a huge difference between the two. But just to dive in, to some of your background. So with the transition from being a doctor to an entrepreneur, like what was the biggest obstacle that you faced personally?
The biggest obstacle is probably my mindset, which is I trained really hard in this pathway to be a physician. So therefore, I believe a lot of other careers require training and knowledge and maybe even some formal education. And so that's the unlearning I had to do pretty quickly. Um, and actually, I speak to a lot of physicians, and I'm doing a keynote next week, and I'm going to be saying the same message, which is, no, the rest of the world is not like that. It really is building this plane while you're trying to fly. It's people's lives aren't necessarily on the line, like in the physician mindset, which I completely understand. Everything else is, let's throw some things at the wall and see what sticks. Let's see if this customer likes it or if they don't. Like, it's not the end of the world. But that is a mindset that you need to really shift. You also need to put yourself out there. And if you think about the credibility and respect factor of a physician, I had to take that away. Like that, I had to take that. If I, had some identity with that, I needed to strip that down because it's about to get dirty over here. And there's a lot of things that are going to fall on your face, and it might not be the physician way, right? So like that, those were my own demons, or I guess, or obstacles that I overcame. But once I did, my gosh, the world has opened up from a mindset perspective. Like, what can't I do? Not from a cocky or egotistical perspective, but from an empowered perspective. Like, there's a problem. I think I can contribute to problem solving with the right people. And so that's really liberating and empowering.
Yeah, I love that. And as I mentioned kind of in the introduction, I had a healthcare analytics business. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it is the most difficult industry, maybe outside of government, because we were selling to payers, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, and everything was decision by committee. And how can I not lose my job? Like, it was just, they're very risk adverse. And the sales cycle within healthcare. So I was funding the business. Our burn rate was about $100,000 a month. And I'd go in and meet with Blue Cross Blue Shield in January. And they're like, I'd tell them, oh, we can save you $20 million on your South Florida health plan. And they're like, great, come back in September. Yeah. And I'm like, September? It's January. That's almost $1 million in burn rate. Like, can't we just do this now? So I've seen just kind of, within healthcare, like you said, very risk adverse, and they think about it like there's lives at stake, which there are in business, but like, your client's not going to die if you give them a bad product,
Yeah.
So with this transition into being an entrepreneur, what did you carry forward from your background that did help you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things I realized, and someone said that more recently, so this is a lot of reflection and feedback, but especially as an anesthesiologist, there's quick interactions we have with a patient we're about to take into surgery. And so the ability to get them comfortable, build some trust, right? Because they're putting their life in your hands. Now, a lot of people really don't feel like they have that option, but I will say there's a consciousness to immediately connect and make people feel more at ease.
Yeah.
And I will say that I practiced at that skill set for a long time, just by practicing for 13 years. And I feel like that application of reading the room, of acknowledging the emotions, and then trying to connect and integrate in that, is a skill set that I have. And I do wonder if it's over practicing in the field that I did. And that's just one aspect. And then building trust, even though it's a very short period with a patient, there is some trust built or some credibility. There's something that happens there. And I take that very seriously. So the ability to invest in and build trust, and I would say in the business world, I go with a route of vulnerability, being very open, transparent, and talking about plenty of my weaknesses or things that didn't go right, versus coming in with a credential list and saying, I'm going to intimidate you. That's my approach. And I feel like that's been so helpful, and it feels so authentic to me. So those are just a few things I can think about.
Well, I'm glad I don't have that problem. I don't have any credentials. So like, dropped out of college, barely graduated high school. So just happened to get lucky 3 times and start 7 companies. But
that's a beautiful. Those are beautiful credentials, man. Those are beautiful credentials.
Well, but those are all the highlights of the last 30 years. Like, people don't understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and the way you're talking, like, you're a perfect fit for the House of Bricks community and audience, because we always talk about testing, failing, learning, and growing. And I think I could probably learn some things from you of like how to slow down. I've spent my whole life trying to fix the plane while it's flying. It's good to do some things on the ground. So with and I have this quote where an executive said to you, "If I had stock in your company, I'd be very fortunate." So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so the first company I started is called OFFOR Health. That was in 2014. And being an anesthesiologist, I co-founded it with a couple other anesthesiologists. And we essentially bring mobile anesthesia services to dental practices. Okay. And so the problem we're solving is a 4-year-old child on Medicaid who has dental disease and needs to get it extracted needs to be sent to usually an operating room because they need to be put off to sleep in order to take out the teeth or any restoration that needs to happen. Since they're Medicaid and since they're dental, it's very low priority for an operating room, which is a very high cost center. And so the problem we face today is a child on Medicaid who has dental disease, who needs to get a procedure done, waits about 1 year. So they're in pain. They need these services. What we do is we go to the dental practice. We put these children off to sleep there. We bring a whole care team. We recover them there, and they go home. So they never have to use the hospital. It's more economical. The insurance companies love it. But when we first presented this to an Ohio Medicaid insurer, the medical director, we presented it, and this was back in 2015. He stops and he goes, "This was incredible." He's like, "I'm going to have you come to HQ and present to our CMO." And he goes, "I wish I had stock in this company because this is going to be big." And we were already
check.
Huh?
I said, did you get him to write you a check?
Well, we got a pilot in our first contract, which opened up 18 other contracts. You know, today we're in 4 states and we took care of 13,000 children last year, and probably going to hit more. We will hit more this year. But I guess like that was such a huge moment, not only for, again, pride, but something that we were building for 1.5 years and still had so many doubts, and still do, man. Like, you know, this doubts never go away. And you're like, you know, and we've had multiple moments in the company where we're like, are we going to shut down because we're running out of money, or these adversities so high? Like, what is going on here? That just felt really good. And it felt like a huge validation from a legit medical director of an insurance company who sees companies all the time to say, should we support this or not? So those are the pieces of fuel that you need along the bumpy journey, right? So.
Yeah, I love that. And again, just kind of getting back to that test, fail, learn, grow. So you had a company you were trying to raise money for. Did that go as planned?
Nope. And that's just one of many. I mean, yeah. Raising money, raising capital while we're either burning money, employing people, and you're trying to figure out the delta there. Like, how do I continue running the company, employing the people, be sane, right? Not go like nuts over solving this. And how do you not do it in a way that gives away your company and make bad deals? And I've entertained all those avenues, by the way. I've had conversations with desperation. I've had conversations with vulnerable leaders who really helped and mentored. And so you're probably talking about a specific scenario, but I feel like I've had a lot of those scenarios. And if it wasn't me, I was had a relationship with the founder a trusted relationship with the founder who was going through it. So I feel like there's 100 cases right there that I could relate to.
Well, let's pick one.
Yep.
And kind of walk through that test, fail, learn, go, grow process. And I can relate to everything you just said. I'm smiling because I've lived it. In 2015 with my healthcare analytics business, burning $100,000 a month. And we had a Series B investor on the line, ready to invest $5 million. And he kept like waiting. Oh, next week. And then finally, like 4 months later, we had no money in the bank on Wednesday and $80,000 in payroll due on Friday. And he happened to fund the deal Friday morning. So I was able to pay my whole team $5 million. And then, you know, I stepped down as CEO. He brought in someone with, a healthcare background. But take us through kind of a scenario like that where you tested something, maybe failed, what you learned from it, and how you grew.
So I think in that scenario, that same company, OFFOR Health, it was just during the pandemic, right after the market was really crappy for fundraising. We were taking care of children in these dental practices, and some of the new strategy was going to be making it more technology enabled, which makes total sense, and that's in that pathway. But there was a huge focus on the technology portion, and we got away from patient care. And I take accountability for it, by the way. So I'm not really saying, oh, this happened with this team, but there was a couple execs involved that were really driving that forward. And at some point, we said, we have all this technology; it's not even built yet. If anything, it's not increasing our patient care. Oh, and by the way, we're kind of ignoring patient care. We're running out of money. We need more. The market's crappy. We can't fundraise. What do we do?
Right.
Huge kind of dilemma. And I ended up being probably the quarterback of this project where the board said, we need to make these changes. So there was a CEO that we had that's an old buddy of mine who we're in business now for 4 or 5 years. And we just needed a different set of experience to take the company in a different direction and to overcome the obstacles of the burn. And so I had to be a little more proactive. It was very uncomfortable because we had this previous relationship, but we had to terminate that position. I had to kind of step in for a very short amount of time, and then we had to find another executive. Now, I say that very nonchalantly, but oh my gosh, was that so hard? Not only with the personnel changes, but also knowing that this company is running out of money.
Yeah.
Right. And also knowing that there's a lot of pressure on me to try to help plug in the seat of a CEO, as well as try to look for investors to bring to the table. I was wearing all these hats. And in retrospect, it was unnecessary pressure on me. And it was really challenging. Now, the silver lining is not only is the company now profitable and growing, great, fine. Again, I'm one person of many people, so I credit many other people. I learned so much about myself in such dark moments. And a couple of them were ask for help when you're literally on your knees. Don't give up. And even if you don't have the energy to get up, ask for help for someone to pull you up. I did that. Number two, sometimes you do have to just pull back for a second when the world feels like it's ending, because sometimes it really does, but it's not really, right? And easier said than done afterwards as Monday morning quarterback, but it really is a reminder that, like, take a deep breath, take a step back, and just look at what's happening. And I feel like the level of empathy that I have now for those moments are huge, not only for myself, but for others. And I just feel, again, empowered, because some of the moves that can't really talk about at the moment that we made, which was, let's throw these lines out and say, I'm going to just go for it. Right. They happened. And it will be a Netflix movie or series one day, because there's a lot to talk about that was pretty cool and can bring value to others.
I almost forgot I was on my own show. Like, I thought I was getting counseling or therapy for a minute, because I've lived there with you, man. I have been there. I'm there right now. But my guest last week, he was a veteran, tried to take his own life. And he said something, I wrote it down. The magic happens at rock bottom. And it is just like so powerful for people to not waste the valley experiences. Because like you said, that's where you learn the most about yourself. So
oh my gosh.
I've got piles and piles of journals of just over the last 30 years, just every morning kind of waking up. And what the journal does is, number one, it gets it out of your mind and onto paper. And the second thing it does is you go back and read it and you're like, what was I so worried about? Like 80% of what we worry about never even happens. And I'm going to say one more thing. I used to watch CNBC religiously. I mean, I still do, but Art Cashin in the morning would always say, like, don't bet on the world ending, because if you're right, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The world's over. So
so simple, but so true.
yeah, why bet on that? So yeah, just so much there. So you got the testing, failing, learning. Obviously, you're growing now. If you could do one thing differently, and you said you were wearing all these hats, like a lot of founders obviously don't have a choice to not wear all of those hats as well. So did you have the resources to delegate, or you just chose to like do it all by yourself?
That's a great question. I didn't have enough resource to delegate, but the next hire for CEO was helping me and became CEO, and that went south. And so then there was like several months later, we were in the same position. So the lesson there, and I'm proud of myself and the people around me that have made these moves, so I don't have to go through that again. But also, we can help founders not go through that, which is to be able to get very experienced, business acumen oriented people that could plug in a company extremely quick. And so a few months ago, and I've used a fractional executive firm for some of my companies, for 4 portfolio companies, and ended up befriending the owner. His name's Aaron Boggs. We ended up acquiring his company several months ago. And so now in the loud collective atmosphere, we not only do some investments in companies, but a lot of companies that we help, we bring executives fractionally, very, very efficiently. And so when you're not talking about, okay, let's go send out interviews and we're going to charge this huge fee, and 3 months later, you're going to have an executive show up. No. I'm talking about OFFOR Health needed a CFO. My CEO says, yes, Navin, we do need one, but like, I don't have time to like really train them and get them in. I said, okay, I hear you. Within 1 week, he's plugged in, already taken things off the plate of my CEO, and is working there several months later and loves it. And so the speed to value, the speed to mitigate risk, the speed to decrease the anxiety of a leader.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned, and now we have. So again, with empathy, bringing a solution that I know is extremely powerful.
So you said you like to be authentic and transparent.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. So what's the number one thing that you learned about yourself in the Valley?
That's a great question. Okay. So I am a very positive, optimistic, problem-solving person, even in my friend circle and everything like that. And so when I was in the Valley, when it was so dark, I needed people to pick me up, like Mr. Positive who picks other people up. And so it's recognizing that no matter how positive, how much you work on your mind, I do daily exercises on my mind to manage my emotions, all these things. Even the strongest fall. And so what I learned about myself is, number one, I need to be picked up sometimes, and I need to appreciate that and empathize that with other people. And number two, the power of picking someone up. So every single day I wake up and say, I need to look around, be aware of who's going through their valleys. And I just need to be someone to do that. I'm so motivated because the couple people who picked me up, like they saved me in so many ways. So it's my so gratitude, empathy, and the focus on service is what I learned about myself, or maybe the opportunity for myself.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll tell you what, I want to be friends with you, man. You're a great guy. Like this is awesome. And I'm just saying that because I mean, we're kind of on that same frequency. Like that's why I started the House of Bricks community, the podcast. Like I never wanted to do any of this. Like I just want to build businesses, make money, and fricking win.
Yeah.
And I just got to a point after my 6th company, I was like, I can either start another business or teach other founders. And when I say teach, I just share everything I did wrong and tell them not to do it.
Of course, man. That's exactly. We're very similar. Actually, we're very aligned on that. Actually, so.
Everyone's like, "Why don't you write a book?" I'm like, I don't even know how I do what I do. I just wake up, I test, I fail, I learn, I grow, and I never give up. And it tends to work out, right? And sometimes working out is failing, and you take that and you start something else. And what you're saying about reaching out to people, so that's the number one thing that I learned in my darkest moment is people want to help you also. Like you're doing others a disservice if you don't allow them to help you. And look, I've had a great run since I was 20. Like I said, started my first business, couple $100, had probably a 25-year run of just climbing the mountain and starting the House of Bricks. Like, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done, is building your personal brand and trying to help other founders, because they're all in the same position. They're like, oh, I just need sales and cash. Yeah. Like, oh, that's it? Like, that's all, all I need is just more sales.
That's simple.
Yeah. Like, I was like, why didn't you say that? Like, I could fix all your problems. So, but for anyone that's listening out there, there's two lessons kind of in what you're saying. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. And you're really, like I said, it was that mindset shift of like, hey, I'm actually doing them a disservice, just like I like to help other people.
Yeah.
Like, they want to help you too. But as men, as entrepreneurs, we're kind of stubborn a little bit. So if you're out there listening, and there's nothing wrong with and it's not necessarily like a handout, it's really a hand up is what I offer people.
Yeah.
Join our community, get around people on the same frequency as us. That's why I do our Substack newsletter, just sharing business advice, featuring best in class people like you that have wisdom to share. I mean, I've just been a student of other people. Didn't graduate college, but I'm graduating life by learning from other people, because there's so much in that. So with the gratitude reflection, I'm in on all that with you. I do want to ask you, I had another question, but what is your morning routine? And I know like everyone talks about this, like you got to do 30 minutes in the sauna, 10 minutes in the cold pool. I'm like, dude, do you have a job?
Yeah. Yeah.
I journal, I pray, I cold pool, work out. I was like, when do you go to work at noon?
Yeah.
So walk us through what you do.
Yeah. And I want to emphasize sleep. I definitely focus on sleep. So I used to pride myself on sleeping less and waking up so early, working out and doing all these things. But the last few years, I've really tried to try to run 7 hours if I can. And my kids make fun of me, but because I'm the first to go to bed. But I try to get up decently early, around like 5:30ish, and I do Wim Hof breathing. I do meditation.
I've done that. Incredible.
Oh, yeah. I've done it. Been 2 years but last 2 years. I do meditation, and then I do some reading. It could be any book, fiction, nonfiction. Nowadays, it's, as I'm getting a little bit older and curious, it's a lot about spirituality and just kind of self-actualization. Then I write some thoughts down. Some of them become a LinkedIn post. Some of them become a post of some sort or content. And that's my usual morning. And then I end up working out. I do a lot of yoga and stuff like that. And yes, this is in the first hour and a half, 2 hours of the morning. And then kids are up or something's going on, and then it's time to do my working day. But that investment into myself, I mean, why I'm able to talk even about the topics, today is because I've done so much reflection on what I learned, what I went through, how it was traumatic, how it was exciting. And I like to really talk about it and create content on it as well.
Yeah, I've taken a little break from LinkedIn, kind of back getting on there now, but I've kind of used it. It sounds kind of similar to you. It's almost like journaling. I find a journal that kind of speaks to me and just share it. So kind of found some therapeutic benefit to LinkedIn instead of just posting, scrolling, and liking other people's content. people want to get to know who you are, your struggles. They don't really care about your business or your next convention or where you're speaking. They want to like get to know you as a person. So, what do you have going on right now that has you really fired up?
Yeah, so there's two things that fire me up. One is the Loud Collective, which is, Loud Capital acquired this executive, placement firm that was fractional. Now we basically do business valuations. We do growth. We do workshops for companies. So any business in any industry, except like real early startups, like established businesses that need goals and growth help, we don't come in as consultants. We come in as executing next to you, or definitely fulfilling execution, because that's a big opportunity for many businesses, with data, right? So how can we organize all the things that you have in your company? Some CEOs know their revenue, but they really don't know a lot of other pieces, and that's okay. A lot of people don't. There's too many moving parts. How do you organize that and enable a leader to make decisions based on what's working for them? So that's Loud Collective. And we got some great people at the table, and we're putting this in the spirit of venture as well, which is how do you become a venture capital firm that is just different, not just providing capital, but with trust, providing services that are economical and efficient. All those things has kind of been the vision since Loud Capital. I co-founded it in 2015. So that's number one. Number two is my latest podcast, which is called Made to Rise. Just launched 2 episodes. It's pretty new. It's on my YouTube channel and Spotify.
So hold on. So I want to, do you have,
I know there's a lot.
We may be here all day. So with the investments, venture capitalists, do you have a specific vertical that you're focused on? Is it just healthcare, or are you kind of invest?
So on the venture side, it's healthcare venture, just with my experience, and then my partner's experience, Buffy Alegria. She ran a large women's healthcare fund. We both, along with our other kind of partners and venture partners, have a lot of experience to create and build and invest in companies that are doing healthcare and try to create solutions to get them to the patients quicker. And so some of that is therapeutics, and some of that is logistics and operational efficiencies. So that's the venture side. But from the services side, it's industry agnostic. We're doing a lot of awesome / boring companies, and those are great.
So services like, give me an example.
Yeah, so like we do a 30-day assessment for a company who, 98% of companies don't even know the value of their company. So how do you, right? So how do you do a valuation for their company? But then how do you show how to build value? Because as you can probably relate as an entrepreneur, there's 100 things that sound amazing for this company. But I think would be interesting to know, what is the market valuing? Even if you don't plan on selling it, are you building value in a way that's authentic to yourself and your company and your employees? And a lot of people don't know that. So we help with that. And then we help bring in fractional executives when they need those executives, but we also bring them in earlier to help guide them in their leadership decisions. We do workshops for culture and leadership, you name it. We do a lot of things. And again, not from a consulting, we're going to get some stuff and give it to you. It's that gap of giving it to you and what do you do next is what we're here to help with.
Right. Yeah. Consultants, they listen to what you say, put it in a PowerPoint, and give it back to you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So we do some of that as well with our business advisory services, helping set valuations. We go across all industries, healthcare, mobile tech, roofing, mortgage companies. I mean, there's patterns in business, and that's where I do think, call it a God-given gift that I have, just to be, you just recognize, patterns in business. Because my companies have been in healthcare, mobile tech, direct marketing, mortgage, sales training for roofing companies, so just every one of them was a different, industry. But again, those patterns exist. So when you're prospecting, are you looking for seed stage companies, or are they at a Series A round looking to get to Series A?
Yeah, from a prospecting aspect, it's usually healthcare companies that are looking for seed Series A. We're fortunate enough to have a good amount in our pipeline because the last couple of years, it's been a tough fundraising market. So there's so many companies starving for capital. So deal flow is usually, we're not short of deal flow.
Yeah.
But when it comes to services and companies, since we collective is pretty new, we're looking for companies that want some change and want a trusted partner. That's the other thing is like, how do you get like 5 different consultants and be efficient with that, right? And how versus one brand, one partner who can provide all these different services. And again, we've already have success stories that are not only in growth, but hopefully in some acquisitions soon, where we're accelerating the leader's goals by even bringing our network of acquirers. So it's actually pretty hard to not be intrigued if you're building your company.
Yeah, no, I love that. And listen, I've been doing this again since I was 19. I'm 47 now. Like everyone needs an advisor. I formed an advisory board, not my first company because I just didn't know any better, but every company since, because you're so in the weeds as a founder, you need, no matter how good you are, if I was telling people, if Michael Jordan needed a coach for basketball, like you can have an advisor in your business,
100%.
which adds so much value. So this live event was perfectly timed with my watching of The Dark Knight Rises. The podcast you have, The Rise. Tell us how you came up with the name and what's it all about.
Well, Made to Rise is, my book's called Physician Underdog, and I really think about really aligned with how you're building this community, which is to talk about the falls and how you grew. I think when you talk about underdogs, you suddenly go to your adversity story, how you overcame something. So I always like that. And so Made to Rise is actually how do we talk about the so one of my favorite quotes that I happen to say on a podcast is everyone is equipped, but not everyone is empowered. And so we have all these ingredients, and it's really just right certain circumstances, confidence, all these things to pull out of us, even self-awareness of it, to rise. So we are all made to rise, but how do we help each other rise? And so one of the things I like to talk about specifically on this show is imposter syndrome. And so you said from the beginning, I have all these credentials, right? Yeah. And so, but I'm doing a keynote next week. I still have imposter syndrome. Am I a good person to bring value to the audience that they hired me to do? I still ask myself that question. And if I'm asking that question, I'm sure a lot of people are. And so by talking about imposter syndrome, by saying those doubts before would make me feel bad. I mean, I tell you, I did a complete switch. Now those doubts I know are a sign that I'm pushing myself to grow, that I care about the outcome, and it makes me work harder without guilt. Give yourself grace while you work your tail off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so Made to Rise is about that, talking specifically about imposter syndrome. Right now, it's just me talking on various topics and adding some stories. And then my next phase is hopefully to incorporate interviews, because I love talking spontaneously and bringing the best out of people.
What you just said, I go through it every day, which is like, I'll even go like, look at my reels that I'm posting or even my LinkedIn post. You do a post on self-leadership and then like, you don't do what you're supposed to do, or like, oh, I'm a great father. And then you go home and yell at the kids. Like if everyone has, if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're not being authentic to yourself, because honestly, like, we all, have our dark moments and dark side, but what you just said, super powerful, like giving yourself, it's that balance, right? It's like climb the mountain, but give yourself grace, because the only place you really arrive in life is the cemetery.
Yeah, 100%. We know the ending to this story, right?
10 out of 10 people die. So, it's just, and as I get older, you kind of get used to, that feeling of pushing yourself hard, but also, needing to give yourself a break. I need to give myself more grace and more breaks, but it's really good. So, with the podcast, how long have you been doing that? And I'll say this too, you're doing a lot of difficult things. You're in healthcare. I can't stand it. You're keynote speaking, very difficult. And people do not realize how difficult it is to start a podcast and actually continue. I think I'm just going to make the number up. I think like 80% of podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. So how long have you been doing it? And what are your goals with the podcast?
I've been doing it for about 3-4 months. I hired a production firm where I do like batch it out. So I've already done 6 episodes. I'm going to do another 6 to 8 next month. And so having a team nudging me, encouraging me, helping me with design and coming up with different topics has been extremely helpful. Again, delegation.
Yeah.
But I think I'm here for a while. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I've wanted to do it right. So that's why I've waited. I've tested out little things, and I was even doing LinkedIn Live for a while, and I was doing it on myself or by myself essentially. So that was just exhausting because it's so much work. And my goal is to keep working and building as I love to do, and then continue sharing content and having conversations. But that there can be too much work outside of building and writing. And that's where I think this partnership I have, it's called Sweetfish Media. They're based in Orlando. They're doing an excellent job.
Get the heck out of here.
What?
Because I used them like 2 years ago. I used Sweetfish Media, and they helped me come up with the name House of Bricks. So now I do it on my own, but it was literally 2 years ago in May. Yeah, I worked with Sweetfish. So.
Oh my gosh. So, oh God, we have more to talk about that eventually.
Yeah, they helped me come up with the name House of Bricks. So you may or may not know this, but when I was 32 and I sold my tech company, my wife was like, "You've been a CEO since you were 19. If you don't do something you love, you're going to regret it the rest of your life." So we're in Boston at the time, and everyone's doing Ironmans, and I was like, "Oh, great, I'll do an Ironman." Biking, no problem. Running, no problem. Got in the pool, swam down and back, and I was like, "Screw this." So if you don't know how to like literally, swim with form, I was like, I feel like I just ran a marathon down and back. I'm not going to drown in a lake, but lap swimming was not for me. So I played basketball in high school and a year at college. So I was like, I'm sure I could make some minor league basketball team somewhere. So I trained for 6 months, ended up making the Rochester Razor Sharks semi-pro basketball team.
Wow.
So that's how they came up with House, my last name, and then Bricks. It's kind of like a paradox. They're not good in basketball, obviously.
Oh, that's so funny. That's good, man. But, oh my God, that's so crazy. What a small world. So
I know.
Yeah, I'm in that earlier journey where you were, and it's been a great experience. And so and they helped me come up with Made to Rise, and I love it. Like it's authentically me. Like I love talking about this.
Yeah, and people need to hear that. They what it shows is you're admitting where you are, which you're not at the top, right? And then it's kind of that motion of like, okay, I am made to rise. Like I got to get out of this valley, and how do I do it? So love the messaging. I'll have to check that out and follow your journey with it. Just stay with it. Stay consistent.
Yeah, I will.
You're doing a better job than I am. I don't record, and everyone's telling me like, just record 6 episodes and then, you release them over time. For me, I'm just like, when I got something going, I got to just get it out. And
whatever works, man. The batch content thing for me, I think works really well. And let's see, I'm still early. So
no, keep doing it. You're, like I said, I've said it 20 times. You're smarter than me. Keep doing it the way you're doing it. This is a lot of work, just continually going live, 3 or 4 times a week, but I love it. Get to meet great people like you and really impact people. So with the Made to Rise, you talked about imposter syndrome and kind of having honest conversations. Do you feature other guests on your show, or is it just you?
Not yet. So right now I'm just doing me talking about various topics, but it will probably be a phase that comes soon. Right now we're just kind of establishing the show, the brand, and me talking about imposter syndrome, but I do want to do that. That's my goal.
Yeah. And just, again, advice. It's great to have other people on because it helps grow your audience, right? You know, you're connecting with my audience now. I'm connecting with yours. So like the guests will really help, help the show grow over time.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, it's been great having you on today. We'll put it. If people want to learn more about you, what's the best way for them to get connected?
Yeah, LinkedIn is a place that I live often, and now, I have a channel on YouTube and Made to Rise, Spotify, but LinkedIn has a link to all those things as well. So you can find me here on LinkedIn, and we'll go from there. But I'm always looking forward to learning from people and having these discussions. So I appreciate what you do.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining today, and anyone that's listening, check him out on LinkedIn. You're just like me. I live on it. I did have to take a break though. I kind of almost put me in the mental institution, just too much LinkedIn,
Yeah,
but,
I get it. You need to take a break.
It is very few people know how to use it, use LinkedIn the right way, but it is a great place to build relationship capital, stay in touch with people from your network. I mean, I have random people from high school. All of a sudden they're like, "Hey, I saw your content on LinkedIn."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Could you at least throw me a like or a
Yeah.
comment?" I was like,
I know.
I've watching you for years. I'm like, dude, you haven't liked one post,
Yeah.
I'm working on that. So, well, any closing thoughts for our audience?
No, just the people who show up and are consistent are the ones who are considered successful. So remember that on the days that it's hard to be motivated and hard to understand why you keep showing up. So the fruits are waiting for you at some point.
I tell my kids that all the time. Show up once, you beat 80% of the competition. You show up 5 times, you knock out about 98%. Like
That's right.
Are not consistent. So it's that consistency that builds the resilience, which leads to success and growth. So I want to thank you for joining today, and I'll definitely be checking out your podcast, subscribing to your newsletter. Love to support other founders.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for joining House of Bricks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Adam.
Thank you.